it kind of helped him advance. I mean, do you think this was a conspiracy?
Gotta go with Jacob Butter. Gotta go lefty.
No, we're talking about the players. That's tournament champion into the podcast.
There he is, right there.
Oh, he doesn't even know how to watch. Go to youtube.com and search Down Lane Podcast. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are streaming live from the lab. I am muted. Unmute. There we go. Good evening.
What's up, everybody? I'm going to talk over Kyle because he doesn't know what he's doing. He thought the podcast was at 7:15 tonight.
No, 8 o'clock.
He thought it was at 8 o'clock tonight. So this is your co-host / guest every week, assistant to the host, Anthony Scaccia, followed by my colleague, host, and person who thinks podcast is at 8 p.m.
Are you done?
Kyle Haines.
All right.
I had to start a season off with a bang.
What's going on, folks? Welcome to Down Lane Podcast. That is the name. We are here. Down Lane Podcast. We are streaming live from the lab at Town and Country Lanes. Today, it's our season premiere. Season number 3. You guys believe it? 3, not years now, but season number 3. 3 seasons of bowling talk. Don't forget, you guys can comment to us during the show. We can chat with you guys. I am muted. Yes. Thank you. 10-pin life. We'll chat with you guys, take questions live on the air. But tonight we are going to talk about a few different things, mostly about our summer and what we were doing all summer long as far as bowling related goes. We are going to talk about some breaking news in the bowling world.
Breaking. Are we going to break it? Or has it been broken?
It's been broken, but it's still breaking news.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to We're going to talk about what's coming up in the weeks to come and year to come, and talk with you guys. So, hey, how was your summer?
Well,
hang on, let me back up real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, there is some news to be shared.
What did we do?
Anthony Scaccia is now a man, and what I mean by that,
oh my God, you're such a loser.
He actually popped the question.
Yeah,
to Janelle. So let's give a round of applause. Congratulations to Anthony Scaccia. He is now an engaged man. He's almost completely off the market.
Well,
which
it sucks for other women because I'm freaking tall, dark, and handsome. I got a great sense of humor.
Oh man.
But yeah, I guess we did that.
You did do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He kept it completely secret to everybody except for your father-in-law, future father-in-law, right?
Yeah. Aren't you supposed to do that?
I think so. It's kind of how I did it a little bit.
Touchdown Jesus.
But congratulations.
Thanks. Austin's next.
Now there's sure. Now there's a wedding in August 12th. Everyone's invited. Everyone that's watching.
Yes.
All of them.
Congrats, Lefty. At least everybody knows that I'm left-handed still.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about tonight real quick because a little backstory about what happened. Austin sends me a message. All right, I'll see you about 7:15 tonight for setup. And in my mind, I was like, that's perfectly fine. That sounds good. 7:15, that sounds good. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I mean, I think everyone else knows the show starts at freaking 7 o'clock. So
yeah, well, I actually, I am, if nobody knows this by now, I am probably the least cerebral person in this room when it comes to this. And Austin,
or anything, or anything for that matter.
And Austin comes in, and we just got a new table over here. Shout out to Austin. Made out of synthetic lanes. It even says DLP when we established that, and it says the lab at TNC, so it's awesome, super cool. Stores a bunch of stuff. It was awesome, handmade by AVB himself. And so Austin comes in and says, all right, well, I'll see you at 7:15. And I was like, 7:15? I was like, why are you going to see us at 7:15? I was like, we got the podcast. And he's like, yeah, we got to set up. I was like, don't we go on at 7 o'clock? And he says, yeah. And I swear to God, maybe about 30 minutes ago, I get a call from Kyle, and Kyle says, hey, yeah, I thought the podcast was at 7:15. Or we had
yeah.
And I was like, what is it? I'm the only one who knew. And I'm the least cerebral person in this room.
I've been all day, the last couple of days, I've been sending out messages and tweets and everything. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just like always. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Austin's like, see you at 7:15. I'm like, sounds good to me. No problemo.
I was the only one to know.
And
Me.
So I'm sitting at home finishing up dinner or whatever, and 6:30 rolls around, I'm just lacing up my shoes, and I'm like, oh my God. The freaking podcast starts in 30 minutes. So I jump in the car, and I'm trying to speed down as fast as I can.
That's dangerous. You shouldn't do that.
Listen to this. So I get behind a freaking Mustang. A Mustang, all vehicles, right? Five, exactly correct. 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. Can I put this PSA out there? If you own a freaking Mustang, quote unquote, muscle car, you are obligated to go over the speed limit. You're obligated. If you're going under the speed limit, your car should be ripped away from you.
Was it red?
No, it was like some bluish grayish.
Exactly. It sticks out to people who are police officers, so they wanted to make sure they didn't get a ticket.
I don't care.
I think you're in the wrong.
You're obligated to go over the speed limit if you're driving a muscle/sports car.
We don't have a table here either. This is
no. We got to do a little setup here that makes it a little easier for us instead of bringing in the table. Austin got us a little piece of lane here that we strap our mics to, and
we are now cooler than ever.
Now you get the full frontal view, which I don't know if is a good thing or a bad thing.
You make me look like I'm a lumberjack.
What the heck does that mean?
You just look like a small guy.
What, should I sit like this?
Lost too much weight.
I don't even. So. No, I'm just So let's get on with it.
All right.
Let's go.
So let's talk about our summer. What did we do? So I think
what did we really do, folks?
First and foremost, what did we do first? We do OCs first or the regional first?
We did states first.
Oh, states. We didn't even talk.
We talked about states at the end of last year.
Okay.
I don't know if we got to it because it was late April. I had a pretty good set all the way around. Did pretty well. It was kind of like a tune-up for nationals and like an eye-opener. Like, hey, what balls are rolling good? But we also had a lot of old surface there, a lot of old front surface. And
on lane surface,
the lane surface was old, and the front and the backs were newer. So the lanes broke down really funny. Which was like, whoa, interesting. But I did pretty well. Austin, how did you do, Austin? Yeah. Okay.
Me too.
All right.
I don't know that I averaged more than 150. It was, listen, I walked out of that place wanting to quit.
I will agree to that.
It
was an upsetting
I forget
time
what the shot was roughly, like a 3 or a 5 to 1.
It's usually around there.
It wasn't even that difficult, but because of
there is no should have in bowling.
Yeah. I think because of the way the lane surface was, it just, like you said, it broke down really funny. And there
was a lot of early hook, and then for your game with your lower ball speed, and Austin because you hooked the whole lane. Kyle needs bumpers. Let's go. I like this pizza wings guy. Austin and Kyle, because Kyle's a little slower than Austin, but Austin has a lot of revs. So for you guys, controlling the lane or getting the ball down lane was probably
really hard. It was really hard.
For me, I remember I was talking to I think I bowled with Mike Drexel in doubles, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going left," and I was like, "Yeah, me too." And everyone just turned around and said, "What do you mean you're going left?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going left, man. I'm getting where all the
going to the gutter."
And everyone's like, "What? How are you going that way?" I was like, "I don't know." And then I think I shot 700 that set. All right, I bowled pretty well. I had a really good 9-game score. And teams we cashed in teams too. No, we didn't.
No, we did not.
No, we did pretty well though.
We had one guy that bowled. Mike bowled really good in teams.
We had a low through. We had like 30-13 or something like that because it was actually quite brutal.
Yeah, it was very hard for the righties just because of the how old the lane surface was.
The lanes blew up.
For the the little bit of backstory, the house has had, I should say, synthetic front ends and wood back ends, and then they updated them to be full synthetics. But when I don't know for sure, but I believe when they did that, they left the old
front
synthetics in.
That's what was determined.
And put newer back ends in. So it just created this super friction in the front with more updated, slicker back ends. And so it just created
was kind of weird. It was kind of weird. It broke loose down lane.
Yeah.
Broke loose. By that, we mean hooked early or got into a roll, and then all of a sudden it got a little bit of oil down lane or whatever, less friction, and it just kind of like rolled out and then tried to roll and hook again. I tried to hook twice in a sense.
Yeah.
I did well. Apparently, you guys didn't. I don't really remember that part. All I know is I got pulled over on the way home because, there was a machine broke and Chad was trying to close, and I was just cruising because I bowled good. And they pulled me over in the parking lot at the bowling alley, and they're like, "Oh, what's the problem?" I was like, "I got a machine broken." They're like, "All right, no problem." They let me in, let me go, and
they pulled you over right here.
I was in the parking lot.
I mean, it's not like you could have fixed it or anything.
Yeah.
So that was our precursor to our team event. We kind of used the New York State Open Championships as our build up to the national OCs, the USBC Open Championships.
Well, we did the regional next.
Yeah, I'm just saying that was our just kind of
that was like a tune-up.
Yeah,
to get our teams together. And
basically,
and
what that
ready.
did to me was completely deflate my my not ego, but just my confidence. Thank you. And I just was not excited, but we had some time because that was in April-ish states.
Yeah, we did. We went early April.
Yeah, and we didn't go to OCs until late June, so we had time for me to practice and get healthy again in my mind.
I'm not really sure if you were fully reloaded, but
no. Well, this last year has been an absolute
trash year because
garbage.
You revamped your game when you went out.
Some of it, but all in all, it just has been a.
Well, you won a tournament last year, and it's a rebuilding year, and you know what I did? Nothing.
Yeah, but it was a shared title. It was a doubles title. But anyway, so then we went to the Buffalo Regional
Airport Lanes out there, and we bowled on the Don Johnson 40 feet. Had about like 30 milliliters or more of oil.
Yeah.
That was our first regional ever.
Yeah.
And how was the experience? How was your experience there? I mean, besides the bowling.
Yeah, bowling aside. Yeah, bowling aside, bowling in the regional was fun. It was cool. There were. Let's see, Schaefer and Sterner were there. Simonelli was there. I feel like maybe one or two other guys, maybe. No,
not that I can remember.
But more regional guys too. That
a lot of regional guys
people would recognize. I thought maybe there would be a few more. I can't remember if there was something overlapping, but I thought there would be maybe a few more.
I think there was a
bigger guys going to be there.
I think there was there wasn't because Sterner was. I think there was a central region one that was a super.
Okay.
When they're supers, they get a little bit more money. So usually people go to those ones.
But there was 90 bowlers there. There was, I think, 25 first timers there,
which was two of us.
Yeah. So they had a huge turnout, which was really good. But just the experience of having a tournament that is just well oiled, not on the lanes, but mechanically, as far as being run really well. Having strong rules that have been implemented for years, and
it was a well-run event instead of oiled. Well-run event.
It's just a different. I'm not saying that the tournaments around here or anything are not run the same way.
A little different,
but it's just an organization that has done something for so long and has it put together a certain way.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. Exactly. And here it's like. You're kind of used to just like showing up and you go sign in the bar or in the tournament room or whatever, and you kind of just go sit around and chat or whatever. But like here, it's like there's a practice.
There's a whole outline.
Day. Yeah, there's a meeting day for the new guys, and everybody knows the rules there. It's just a different experience.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I thought it was cool. It kind of put on the pedestal of the Open Championships for me in a sense. Yeah, that's where things were like really cool for me. So I was like, we're gonna start bowling again, because that's when it kind of started, right? When we went out to Syracuse.
Yeah.
And then this was pretty cool because I was like, man, this is kind of same level-ish in a sense. Now, maybe it is a little different, but for me, it gets me excited. Yeah, it's a little smaller scale, but it's still, it's something that you can look forward to and kind of prep for. And then, I like the practice session. You learn a lot from the practice session. I actually learned a whole lot from that weekend in general, because a lot of the places that host the regionals, if they're AMF or Bolero, right, they kind of have a little bit of older surface a lot of the times. So, even though it was 40 feet, I thought that my urethane would roll pretty good. And it turns out, because the surface was a little older, I thought that they kind of burned out in the front part of the lane.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the nut for 5 frames. Do you remember? And Kyle's like, get out of that ball. I was like, no, man, this is the nut.
Hold on to this ball for 2.5 more games.
So I went to I only used it for 2 games, and I switched to a purple hammer after. We started with a pink widow, went to a purple hammer, went 190, and said, okay, after practice session, urethane looked okay. I've got 6 more games to go, right? We have 8 games of qualifying.
Yeah, it was something like that.
And then, so I went into the resin stuff and ended up having a pretty good look. Actually, only one lefty, I think, beat me. And he used urethane. It was Paul Smith, I think, and he's a big urethane guy.
Yeah.
He was able, and he was right next to me.
Whoa.
Guy could
hook
urethane
the whole lane
with urethane.
That purple ball.
He can
wow.
twirl urethane. Like,
I've
he
never
is
seen
so
anything
good
like
at it.
Yeah. I've only seen two-handers do what he did with
And the
his
thing
one
is
left
I
hand.
bowled him many times. So we were next to each other. I was like, man, how are you doing that? And he's like, I don't know. How are you throwing resin? And I was like, I don't know.
I have to.
I was like, yeah, I'd love to be where you are. And then you kind of stagger the skips, so I had to follow him sometimes. And we'll have to see what Kyle says. But, Kyle asked me where I was standing, I think. And I said, I really don't know. And then he said, where are you looking at? I said, I'm looking at board 10 at the third splice down lane. And he was like, you're the worst. But I ended up
field bowlers are the worst.
Yeah, I missed the cut by 6. I missed a 6-pin the 8th game. 6 or 7 or 8 pins.
You missed the cut. Did you cash though?
I cashed.
Yeah.
I cashed. I came in
kind
like
of a big deal.
I came in like, what'd they take? Top 16 or top 12?
It was the top 16 for the finals, right?
So I came in like 19th or 20th
or 17th, I think, or something like
that.
Yeah,
I just missed by 6. I missed the 6 pin in the 8th frame, and then I would have had a fill ball, and I had a few probably mental lapses for spares, and not many, but I can see the first frame where I missed the 7 pin where it fell off right at the end.
Yep.
I could see that being a mental error, but there really wasn't a lot of mental errors. And I'll tell you what, ball changes were interesting because I learned a lot. And I tell you what, I put a lot more pearl stuff in the bag after that event, if you remember.
Yeah, you have been using a lot more resin and a lot more
pearl in general.
Yeah.
Just because, with the staggered skip too, you've crossed some guys who try to throw urethane who might be out of the cut, who are trying to throw a big game with it. And as a lefty with not a lot of traffic, if they're not playing the right part of the lane, or if they drag it kind of in a different part where I'm not used to, I had like a benchmark. My Brunswick Defender was kind of the benchmark, which that ball is awesome, by the way. It's one of my favorites. I throw it a whole heck of a lot. I just drilled my second one before Nationals and didn't use it, of course. But I used that ball a lot. And I remember the Power Torque Pearl came out, and I used a little bit. The Defender kind of gave me like a benchmark look, and then I went to the Pearl stuff to get around that urethane that I ended up following a little bit with a Quantum Evo Pearl and a Power Torque Pearl. I think those were I think I had one more Pearl ball with me that whole tournament. And if the other ones didn't work, I was kind of SOL.
That Power Torque Pearl was actually rolling really nicely.
Yeah, I could get the ball off the spot pretty good.
Yeah.
And so now we've kind of, after all the bowling, we've kind of figured it out with urethane, how to play around it. But now I can really make the adjustment and really make it quick. And I know what balls I'm going to go to because I'm just going to start hooking it when that happens.
Yeah.
So we made I learned a lot from that with the surface and stuff. And I did have an okay showing. So we'll see what happens next week. But we'll get to that in a second. But what did you think? How was your
well, as for me, again, physically speaking, I've been not bowling well all year long. I probably shouldn't even have gone, but you convinced me to go. No, but
I did not convince you to go.
In practice,
I did.
In practice, I was kind of confident after practice. I thought I had a good look with the stuff I was using. I started out with the Evo Solid, and I have a stronger pin phase 2, and I also have a weaker pin phase 2, so I can kind of like move down the line as I start to go in on the lane.
Keep something similar in there.
Yeah.
Right. Similar reaction, I guess.
If I remember correctly, my plan was to, if I couldn't get the purple to work, which a couple of guys were just holding on to that purple all day long, and they were scoring with it straight up the dish, and I couldn't make it work for some reason. Probably because I'm too slow. They were just piping it and making it work. But it was only a couple of guys, not a lot.
There wasn't a lot of urethane on this. I thought there would be a lot more.
Yeah, me too. But anyway, so I started with the Evo Solid, and I couldn't get it to work. Couldn't get it to strike really, and then I started to try to move in slowly, probably too slow. As the lane started to break down, because as you start to not strike and make adjustments, your adjustments are probably behind because you're trying to be too perfect on the area that you're in. So I just started to fall behind on moves, and I probably needed to make a larger move left with maybe weaker stuff or more pearl stuff.
Which we just drilled more recently, right?
Yeah.
We got you kind of hooked up in the...
Yeah, I just drilled a high road pearl with the not polished surface, the
4K
fast.
Now they're glossing them. Gosh darn, wrong timing.
But it's all right. I'm okay with that because I think I'm okay with the matte surface, and it actually has been working really nicely too. So I think now understanding, like you said, with how the lanes transition and how the lane surfaces are out there, especially, not a lot of the places are new. Like when we go out west with those really brand new lane surfaces, except, and some of the houses in Vegas are a lot older, but yeah,
right,
exactly.
Ball reaction is so much different.
The ball gets through the heads in a millisecond, but when you're, like you said, going to some of those older houses that have the early
generation,
early synthetic lanes, they're 20 years old or maybe even 30 years old. The heads are just beat up, and you don't even know until you start throwing it. You just really got to be able to see it and observe it if you're not used to it. So that was the trouble that I ran into, and I probably should have trusted my Pearl stuff or shiny or weaker stuff.
Just kind of give you what you needed.
Yeah, I don't even know where I finished, but I know it was low. But to make me feel better, some of the good guys finished pretty low too.
Yeah, so. Actually, I don't think Simonelli, Sterner, or Schaefer, none of them made the cut. And, I don't think any of them cashed, but Schaefer in the senior portion of it.
That was interesting too. So
I had no idea they did that.
PBA event, a PBA regional, actually had a senior cut, which I thought was, excuse me, weird because they have their own event.
Yeah,
it's not just like some tournament like the NEBA or something. They have a senior cut. Yeah, I just thought that was weird.
I get
it to pull more entries or whatever, but
yeah,
I thought it was strange.
It was definitely strange. But the experience overall was pretty cool, and that did get us to kind of look for some more. And luckily enough, we have another one coming up here in South Glens Falls, which is cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. But we'll.
And there's one in East Providence.
Yep, Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only issue with the regionals, though. It seems like,
but that's what a regional is. It's a region.
I understand, but I'm not talking about the distance. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about the distance. I'm talking about the number of them. It doesn't seem like there's very many, at least in the East.
In the East, it's a different. Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit. It seems like the East is. It's not. I wouldn't say it's big because I see events, but the events pop up late. Like there's an event this weekend in Maryland that I wouldn't go to, but it came on like 2 weeks ago, and it's in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, how do you plan? You know what I mean? Like, do people scour the R2S Sports or whatever it's called? They scour for the tournaments because I don't.
Right. Well, it's on the main website, and it's also on the
but if it's not popping up till 2 weeks later, then how do you know it's going to happen? That's what happened with our one in South Glens Falls.
Yeah, it was shown way too late.
Right, and now East Providence is up, so it's kind of like, whatever it is, PBA, whoever it may be, hopefully if we just got a better schedule out, I think we would see close to the same amounts, if not maybe a little less, but it would be at least relative. Like we can't even look now. What do we have? 3 events on our page, and the East.
Yeah.
And then there's like 12 and some other events.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's a little bit weird.
Right. And I don't know if it's because we don't have proprietors that don't want them, which I assume has to be the case, right? Like,
I know people want them, and because there's another center who wanted one in October, and that too. Yeah, but they do different squads too. I've seen some on like some YouTube channels that are, it's got to be like 18 lanes. So they'll just do different squads, but I look at the one in October because I saw that Manchester, New Hampshire wanted to run one, and they said we're really close on closing the date, and then haven't heard anything of it since. So, what are they going to do? And then what won't hurt ours is if you don't put it out, you can't get entries, but then other tournaments schedule those days, and then people will go there instead if it's close to Bowl Regional, unless they have to go.
What's up, Carl? How's it going? Good to see you again.
Daggum UKs.
Good eye, Mike.
Australians. Your Aussie boy lost from freaking tennis. Guy who smashed his racket.
So yeah, I just would like to see more events, just to,
at least in our area, or just a different schedule.
It could be because there's not enough proprietors that want them there. It costs them money to do it, and if you don't have enough big names to do the pro-ams,
you don't have enough money.
You don't have payback.
Right.
So like in Buffalo, they had, I heard, would they have 40 or 50 people do the pro-am? Not players, but
they had
people sign up.
They had more than that. I thought.
Yeah.
I thought they had like 20 lanes, and it was $50 a head.
Yeah,
and it was like 4 people a lane.
It was good for them.
Yeah, so that's like that gives him his money back, which
Right.
means that he can then run it again next year. Which I heard they do want to do a super, which is Central and East together. But that's kind of where the centers get their money back is your pro-am. So if you don't have anybody, you kind of get your SOL.
Right. Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're getting more proprietors that want to do it, and then you also get maybe some names in that regional
right
to pull the pro-am.
Pull people in, yeah. Which is why I think they have that rule where they have to bowl the regional unless it's too close, or unless if it's in a certain mileage, you can't bowl another event. You have to bowl the regional.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to reestablish that rule, make it more firm on that rule, because it seems like they've been laxed on it.
Not too lax, but for the event that's upcoming in our area, they did get lax on it, which I think hurt the entries.
So Carl, our condolences to you and the rest of the UK on the loss of your queen. I don't mean to be smiling or laughing about it, but we don't get it. We don't get the whole queen thing. So sorry, but our condolences to you. Anyway,
make sure you go to whatever they have, the celebration of life.
That's right.
She was a nice lady. I met her.
So yeah, we did the regional. Anthony did very well for his first time. Hopefully we do well again, or
hopefully do better next time.
I do better next
hopefully
time.
We do better as a team.
So then after the regional, I think was the OCs.
Yeah, we went to the Open Championships after that, which was in Vegas. So we did a little bit of traveling. We went to Latham, which is really close for states. Then we went out to Buffalo for the regional, and then off to Vegas,
baby.
We brought 40 people again, huh?
Yeah. Every year we bring 40 people. If you guys aren't familiar,
and I started last time, so
yeah, I'll tell you about it. How great! I didn't.
Not great, but how was was the lanes? Let's start with the lanes, and then we'll get into experience.
All right, so
right. What balls you use, and then get into how great you.
I don't even remember what I brought at this point.
You brought 6 bowling balls that were round.
That's right. Well, team event. We'll start with teams because obviously. Well, actually, let's back up. So, we bowl side events when we're.
We bowled a bunch more. Yeah, I forgot about that.
For the first couple of days, what was the first one we went to?
We went to the BTM.
We went to the BTM.
First, which was we bowled Saturday, Sunday.
For whatever reason, all of us showed up there. We bowled the BTM, and none of us can shoot a spare. Something was off.
Well,
dude.
I don't think it was off. It was the pattern for whatever reason was really crisp on the back.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
Like I threw it a 7-pin, and my ball's hooked, and I was like,
"But
that could happen."
But none of us could make a spare. And we all lost 100 pins and spares and could have shot. All of us could have probably shot 650.
I think we shot you beat me by like a pin.
I was high in the group. I shot like 550 or 560, and I could have shot like 660 or something if I made my spares.
We shot 590 apiece.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, because I shot 200, 190 or something like that, or 180.
Yeah, it was something close around there. But we easily could have cashed if we made spares.
Basically. I believe it was 590. Yeah, we didn't bowl that bad because I was just sitting. I was hovering right under. I didn't have a terrible game, but I didn't have that good game, and I missed a lot of spares.
Yeah.
That pattern was pretty hard. I actually have it in my backpack, which is up there.
Yeah, they give everybody the pattern. It
was like 39 feet or something. It was difficult, but it wasn't that bad. But I remember the approaches because when you first get there, when you're traveling, if you travel out west, everybody has synthetic approaches.
Yeah. And at least the places we've been to, but all of those big centers in Vegas seem to all have synthetic approaches.
So for us, coming from wood,
not for me. For me, I stick.
They were slick for you. When we went and bowled the BTM, they were pretty tacky.
Yeah, I cannot slide on any of those approaches.
I did have some issues, and that of course, footing is a big part of my spares. Anybody's spares. I usually fall over anyways, but
every time he bowls.
I didn't fall over this year out there.
That's probably why he didn't bowl well.
In the BTM, at least. So we didn't bowl. Well, we did okay for the first day. We weren't too deflated. I had a pretty good look with yours, and I was like,
no, and that's the thing too. You're just coming off of traveling, so I'm like, all right, this is our play day. This is our warm up day.
We're also trying to score pretty well because there is a little bit of money involved, right?
Yeah.
And then,
yeah,
Jeremy's walking around with Floyd, which means somebody spilled something, it looks like.
But anyway, so
then we go and we do okay. And then we met Artie Hoffman there, one of our buddies. He came right off the plane straight to the BTM.
Yeah.
He was up at like 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning. I don't know.
6-hour flight.
And we both doubled. We had a blast.
Yep.
Artie's a great guy. He just loves to bowl and have fun. So we bowl that, do okay. And then where'd we go? Bowler's Journal the next day?
Yep. Bowler's Journal next day.
I had the same experience. I literally shot like 560.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, these lanes are hooking a lot. I should have brought some different balls. I was a little bit nervous. I was like, okay, the center up there does not play this much with this much hook. So I was like, all right. And I think I shot 560. What did you shoot? I think you beat me there too.
I don't remember, but it was not great, but not terrible.
And we had a few guys show up. I think Austin was there after to watch. And they were a little tricky. They were hooking out the wazoo. Urethane was out of play for me there, which urethane is usually in play in that building. Yeah. It was unreal in the Bowler's Journal area. So I used a lot of Pearl, just tried to, whatever. My spare shooting was bad again. And as you start to inch closer to the team event, I don't want to let the boys down and Janbred. But anyways, figured it out. Got the footing at the end because I knew I was kind of out of it and figured out how to make some spares. And I think I shot like 570. I was a little upset, probably, just because.
Probably or definitely?
You didn't give yourself a bloody nose?
Or a snotty nose.
No. I took my brain fluid out. So we bowled Bowler's Journal. We don't really remember too much of it. I remember it didn't bowl good. Maybe 580. I think it was close because I didn't have any good games. Spare shooting was rough. And then we went into practice session.
Right.
And so we practiced. I only threw for like 20 minutes. I was like, I just got to get my spares down. I think I threw at spares for 20 minutes because I was more concerned about that. Turns out I didn't need to throw out many spares that day. But in terms of how they played, we'll go there. So now we're at the day of bowling. How did they play from center to center?
I always find them to play pretty close. I mean, there's maybe a little bit more early hook downstairs, but I still think they play pretty darn close. So I'll tell you my experience up there. I tried urethane purple to start, and I think I just ultimately made the wrong decision for movement or for adjustment, I should say. I think I just should have made a small move with my feet, and I would have been in the right spot for the purple. But I balled out of it after 3 or 4 frames.
It just didn't look like it was the right ball. To be honest with you, it just didn't look good.
So I balled out of it and I switched to either the Quantum U or the Phase 2. I can't remember which one.
Dude, I don't even know. All I know is I can remember how I was bowling.
But either way, again, just I threw some strikes, but just ultimately just had a crappy day. Shot 530 or 540 or something, and was just extremely disappointed after last year, which was
a high point. We were at the high point right there. Overall, it wasn't bad for the team, though. We did cash. Janelle shot about 530. My fiance,
get it right.
She had a lot of hook in the track. We actually opened them up really close to what we wanted to be. Actually, really what we wanted to. We opened them up beautiful, but for her with her ball speed, her stuff just read the lane a little too early, and she wasn't able to get that ball into a roll consistently enough and get the ball far enough down lane. Sometimes she had a lot of weird kind of hook set situations. Then she missed right and it wouldn't make it. Then she would miss a little bit somewhere else and it would do something weird. She would ball out of that. Then she would move left. She wasn't comfortable at all. We did chat about it after. She was trying to go too far left and change balls at the same time, and it was no good because you really had to chase it in for our team, I thought.
Yeah.
We had Jake Shank on the top.
Yeah.
Mr. 2-0. He just gets it done with a 630 with a 180 start, and then Kyle and Jan, and then my brother Joey. I don't know,
mashed him.
Dude just grabbed the Strata Hybrid
every year.
Last year did the same thing, right? Yep. Strata Hybrid, and I don't really think he tries to break the lanes down too much to the right. He just tries to use a shiny ball that doesn't attack the lanes as much. Mm-hmm. He just tries to look comfortable, and 745,
smashed
unbelievable,
unstoppable.
He actually was wicked, like just It was like robot.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say else. It was literally like a robot watching.
And he had area.
Oh.
Like I could not find the area that he had.
He had a lot of area. And so obviously we developed it. It's just finding it for everybody. But he definitely had area. And we broke him down pretty close to what we wanted. And then I had 735.
You guys were the savior on the team, and I was the boat anchor. For sure.
I don't know about that. I mean, we all bowled pretty well. I thought that, our companion team, looking at it, I look at it this way too. Last year we bowled by ourselves. And this year
we
we're
had
bowling
full control of the lane.
Right. This year we're bowling. We added another 5 guys. And as a pairing, the breakdown, the way we worked together was pretty good in a sense where the lanes broke down pretty well to have some area.
Yeah.
I had 735. I once again had a chance at 300.
Yeah.
I had front 10 game 1. And Kyle, I'll tell you, I was looking at 3.
Here we go again.
If we had a video of it, it would be good to show people how much of a field bowler I really am, because I think if you watch the video, I'm pretty sure I was swinging 10. Like I was probably throwing at like 10 to 8 out to
I don't remember.
Wherever.
Yeah.
I've got a video of it. And everyone's like, man, you were freaking hooking it with that ball. Or how did you get the ball hooked from there? I said, I was looking at 3. What are you guys talking about? I thought I was pretty straight. Then I watched a video of myself and
5 boards right.
Straight. Yeah. Oh, I had
a zip code right from where you were.
I looked at board 3 the entire time. Yeah. Well, how'd you Austin was next to us. He was on the cranker team.
560s.
560s not
bad showing.
I was fishing for a ball right all the time.
Yeah.
It seemed like, with their guys, the lanes. It looked like your lane broke down more in the middle. So what happens is, I think we talked about it a lot.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot.
Lane breakdown is super important. Yeah, we had an unbelievable breakdown, and we just didn't execute that last game. I think we ended up in 120th roughly out of I think 9,000 teams.
Right, yeah.
It was right around 120th for 9,000 teams. Last year was 95th out of 7,600 teams.
Yep.
So I'll take that, because if you really look at it with all the teams they added, we're right around the same percentage we were last year, and we know that we've got the breakdown right, and we know that we've got an idea. Yeah, we put a year together, we should be good with everything.
I think for me, I got to find the right equipment that I can manage those 40-foot patterns, like the 40-foot sharp cliff patterns that we were talking about.
It wasn't too cliff, but at the end it was more cliff.
It's more cliff than we're used to.
Yeah.
And
especially if you were in the same part of the lane with each other, you could really do damage on that oil. But then we did doubles.
Now let's go to doubles and singles.
Well,
let's go to bed, wake up, whole new me.
Whole new Kyle, same building. So we bowled in the high end though, and actually the day after I had the front 10 on that pair, 39 and 40, I think we were on. The next day somebody shot 300 in teams. Should have been me. Front 10, 6 pin. Gosh darn it! Purple Hammer should have rolled the Anyways, go to the low end.
That was the ball's fault.
Nah, it was definitely me. I missed. I mean, I got it.
Oh,
I saw it on it.
You lobster clawed that one, man.
I want to make sure it hooked. I want to make sure it came back. Hey, it wasn't a terrible shot. It actually had a chance to strike, but it wasn't
one of those shots, man.
It wasn't as good. Yeah,
you're on the stage.
Yeah, everybody stopped. Yeah. I did notice everybody stopped, and it was kind of weird because like nobody was bowling anymore.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that the year before.
It doesn't help.
No,
here's the thing: it doesn't help that the 40 of us are screaming like,
yeah, it went pretty crazy.
It's like, well, something's happening, so the whole place just stopped.
The whole place shut down. I remember nobody was bowling. It was kind of weird. The year before, it was just kind of whatever, but this year, everyone, nobody was up, and my uncle's over there because my uncle has 300 at nationals. So he's like, take your time, take a deep breath. I'm like, Jesus, this guy, he's really into it. Like he's like a whole pair over, and he's like, I think he's more nervous than I am for this shot.
I've seen him into it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, I will say our team experience for the year for everybody, like everybody was like, we were all fully into it. Like,
absolutely.
We had guys say that was the best bowling or best team they've bowled in since college. Like we were all into everybody's shots, no matter what. And then we go to doubles and singles.
Doubles and singles. And speaking of your Uncle Mike, oh man,
what do you do next?
Kyle, calm down.
The best bowling coach I've ever had, ever. So
go ahead. You have to, Kyle.
I'll set the stage.
Kyle, we have a friend Nick. Nick, his partner,
Nick,
and these guys are
me and
like
Nick are doubles partners.
I don't even remember us cheering from my lane because they were so loud. Like it was,
we are loud. Nick talks loud regardless, but yeah, he's a yell talker. So we have been bowling double a few years now since I think back in 2019 or 20 whatever
it was.
He's like, hey, you want to bowl in the
Super Bowl doubles?
And I was like, yeah, I think I can do it. And then we do it and we win. And then
just to let you know, he picked you after he asked me.
I guess better
choice with you, my friend, huh?
That's right. So hey, maybe you would have had a win.
No. Definitely not.
So then we have our back-to-back Super Bowl doubles titles now. So we're our doubles partners. So this is our first year bowling at OCs together. And what happens is I get lined up with the purple, and this is why I say, now I know the shots are different between teams and doubles and singles, but for me, they always seem to play the same or pretty close because they're always within a foot or two. You can shake your head at me all you want, but I think they're pretty darn close.
They were close on the left, but not close enough for me.
All I'm saying is last year I started with the purple on day one, and day two started with the purple, and they were, and to be fair, they were in different bowling alleys last year. I remember that now, but they were identical. And I stood in the same spot. I threw it in the same spot. I had the same amount of area, and I shot the same games basically for the first couple of games. Now, I didn't start with the purple in the same spot on both days this year, and I think that's why I made the mistake. Anyway, so day two, start with the purple, have a great look, and I'm shooting 250 or 60 to start, right? 240 maybe, something. I don't know.
I don't even know what you guys shot.
I think I shot 740.
I'm just trying to hit the head pin at this point.
And Nick just leaves me behind. Like, not leaves me behind. I left him behind. He got off at the wrong exit, and I won't disclose his scores, but it wasn't good. And we still cashed, but
you guys did great.
He had the first.
What are you talking about? You did great.
The third game.
He shot 100. I'll tell. I can do it there. Nick goes like they're crushing it for two. 130. I'm like, Nick, you just had like 500 for two.
You were putting the gas. We got somewhere to go.
He was like, yeah, I think I got into the wrong ball. I said, no crap, you got the wrong ball. You shot 130. So, but you know what? The thing is Nick didn't get mad, right? He's like, thank God for Kyle. So he was just cool with it. And then next game, front 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Singles, he totally freaking just left me behind. Yeah.
He went up 130 pins after this. After his third game to his fourth game. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, right ball now. And I'm like, yeah, what the heck? Why did you go to the other ball? Anyways, you guys bowled really well.
Well, yeah. So we bowled really well in doubles. And but the whole reason, not just the whole reason, but part of the big part of the reason is your uncle is paired with us. He's bowling with my wife, Stephanie. And I know that sounds weird, like I should be bowling with my wife, but I don't know. Nick and I are just doubles partners now. So anyway, he's bowling with Stephanie, which is his niece, Stephanie's uncle Mike. And the whole time, I'm striking and a couple spares here and there. And he's like, what are you going to do next? What's your next move? And I'm like, I'm just going to keep throwing strikes, Mike. Like, he's like, or if I left like a 4-pin, he's like, what are you going to do next? Like, I'm going to move left. I got to stay firm, Mike. And he's like, he's doing good. Just keep it going. Just keep it going. I'm like, oh, man. He was just the best freaking guy to have on that pair.
He's a rally guy too. He's a good rally guy. He's a good player. He doesn't bowl nearly as much as he used to because he's running the business down there for Boulevard. But he doesn't bowl nearly as much. But he's just always a good rally guy. He's always into it. And he's just overall like a good guy to bowl.
What the heck did I? So, oh my God, when he was bowling, and I said, Mike, you gotta.
Oh yes.
What the heck did I say?
You told him to slow down because your urethane was creating carry down.
Yeah, or I told him to go in and around it, or I told him to slow down. No, you
told him to slow down, and he kept throwing it hard. He told me, he's like, Kyle kept telling me to slow down, and I kept throwing it hard, and I kept trying to do this and that. And he goes, so for the last game, I slowed down, and I shot like 250. He's like, man, next time I'm going to try and slow down a little bit more. And I'm like, why didn't you slow down?
So then he comes up to me, and he goes, I started slowing down this game. I said, yeah, I told you to slow down. He goes, you did? So you're such a jerk, Mike.
But yeah, I mean, he bowled good after that. I mean, it looked like, you guys, I saw him trip the bucket on one. He slapped it out and ran back.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah! And everyone was like, what is going on? Like,
he was just sloshing pins left and right. Yeah.
And it was just
he
incredible.
would shoot 240 and then shoot 160.
But he was just having a good time.
God,
and he brought my little cousin out, Mikey.
Little Mike.
And we call Mikey the mayor because he's like 12.
Oh.
And he just knows everybody. He's
walking around. How's it going? Nice to meet you.
And so then I remember my uncle's bowling, right? And I remember my uncle goes back and goes, Mikey, what should I do? And Mikey's like, well, I think you got to move like 4 boards left and do this. So then all of a sudden, my uncle Mike comes back and goes, Mikey, I don't know if I should go 4 boards left. I just moved 4 boards left and it didn't hook back. And then Mikey's like, well, maybe you got to go maybe this way. And then, so he was listening to my cousin, who hasn't had any really big experience out there, but he was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't care. I'm just gonna do what my kid tells me to do and see how I do. You know what I mean? It actually was pretty cool. And I was like, Mike, you coach your dad? I'm just only when he needs it. Only when he needs it. And I was like, oh my god. So I was laughing at that because that was after the event. So yeah, you both pretty good in doubles. Yep. Singles was okay.
Just okay, 590 or something. I don't know. I missed the move and just whatever.
Moved in. For me,
I moved in, but
for me, I think I had 640 in doubles. Jan Bread didn't catch fire, so we barely cashed in that. I stayed with urethane too long. I knew I did, but she wasn't striking. She wasn't really getting close to 200, so I was trying to keep us afloat because we were right on the cut line. I knew we were going to be close pace-wise. I was hoping to squeeze out like a 230 last game. I ended up shooting like 190, so I was plus 50 for 2, and then went back to plus 40 after that. So not a bad set. And then we went to singles, and I shot 614. I switched out to resin. I didn't bowl too bad. I actually bowled halfway decent. I left a few. I think you saw I left a few stone 8s and 9s actually in that set. That cost me quite a few pins. But one of them was crushed. It was absolutely crushed. And I looked at your dad after because your dad was only over. I said, I cannot believe I just left that. I labeled. Like, that was the best shot that I had thrown that whole tournament, I felt like. And it didn't strike. So I ended up cashing in doubles, and I missed singles by a stick. All events, I had like 1980 or 1960. I can't remember. It's not that important to me. I had somewhere around there. But the big story from doubles and singles was the producers'
AVP.
The producers' day.
Yeah. You might have to step over here so they can hear you.
Oh, did you?
Our mic's off. Yeah.
I can kind of hear
Okay.
570 in doubles.
Respectable.
So I was bowling with our Hoffman, Tom Anderson, and my father, obviously. And I didn't realize how beneficial this was to bowl with those two gentlemen on the right side of the lane. Because I was fishing for a ball reaction. And me and Chris Smith actually talked about it because he bowled the earlier squad, doubles and singles.
Unfortunately, we had 10 people bowl early.
I went down and talked to him, and me and him both agreed if I can get in the Evo Pearl Solid, or Evo Pearl
Quantum.
Quantum
Evo Pearl. Can't have a Pearl Solid, be a hybrid.
If I can get into that ball, I'll score. So I was like, the end of the third game of doubles, I switched into that and moved 6 boards left, just hoping the lane was open. And the ball actually read the lane. And I was like, all right, we can make this work. So the first 2 games of singles, pretty easy. I mean, I had a ton of them at that point. I think I went into the third game 5-0 something, 5-10.
Yeah, for 2 you had like 500. I thought you were going to shoot 800.
I thought so too. He was smashing them, dude.
Your line was unbelievable.
I started the third game with 2 grabs in a row, and I had a spare the one and a split in the second frame. And I went back to my dad and I said, did I grab it that bad? And he said, probably.
Didn't even look. Just kind of said, yeah, probably.
So for 2 more frames, I forced myself to drop it. I think I left a 2-pin the one, and then a 4-pin the next, and then struck to like the 9th or 10th. I think I had the first one the 10th. And ended with, 756?
Yeah, it was pretty sick.
I don't know.
Top 70, right, or something? Yeah.
Tied for 55th.
Oh,
yeah,
jeez. Wow, that's awesome.
And then he got a good old fist bump from Mr. Sean Rash.
Wow.
Said, nice bowling. It was a handshake. Did you wash your hand after? But yeah, so Austin killed double and singles. I remember going over to you, I think, in like the middle of game 2, and I was like, hey, buddy, just so you know, go win this thing. Because you had that much of a look, and I was like, man, when Austin has a look, just for people, just for like a what you say, an
context.
Context. When Austin has a line, he doesn't really miss too often. When he's got like the lane is in his hand, I mean, he strikes unbelievable. I remember. Do you still hold the record for the CDYST? We have a youth travel scholarship tour here on Sport Patterns. Do you know what your record is? He has the record for most pinfall in what?
4-game block, 6-game block.
4, 6. Yeah. I mean, what was it? Do you remember anything?
I can't remember.
Yeah. I mean,
it was a load. I averaged for the first 4. I averaged 260.
Yeah. So it's definitely in his game, and it's impressive to watch when he has that line because he doesn't miss. I mean, we've seen him throw that night. He shot like 860 with 2 300s and a 260.
He's got a magical hand.
It's magical.
And he's good at bowling too.
Yeah, 2 300s and 2 250s. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Did you catch that joke? No.
Nope,
Okay.
didn't catch anything.
Don't want to hear it.
Okay.
It's a bad joke.
But yeah, so it's we had a pretty successful. Everybody got some money. Our group as a whole did really well.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people who cashed. For everybody in general. Yeah, we had a lot of guys shoot 1900. I think I was the high with whatever I shot. Nobody got to 2000 this year, but we had a lot of guys in the 1900s and 1800s. So we were progressing upwards, which is pretty cool. Yeah, no, we're getting there, and we're getting guys who go every year too. So we're stable.
Almost the majority go every year.
Yeah, so we're getting the stable guys who are working together, and we're trying to keep teams closer together, so that way they can learn from each other.
Yeah. But one of the poll question for this week was about the location of the OCs. And that since we're talking about it, because last year it was or in Vegas. Last 2 years it was in Vegas, right?
Yeah. It was supposed to be in Texas, but it couldn't be in Texas because they couldn't build whatever they had to build.
So I asked, what or where on the East Coast would you travel for the Open Championships? I asked that of the populace. And the reason I asked that is because obviously we live on the East Coast and kind of being selfish about it, but it's always, quote unquote, always.
More often than not.
Yeah. So what did I message you? I said in the last 20 years.
It's been east of the.
In the last 20 years, it's been east of the Mississippi once. In Syracuse, 2019. And it's been east of the Rio Grande, which is still west. That's Arizona. Like
twice
7
or something.
times.
Yeah. It's really not a whole lot.
No.
Favoritism.
Now listen, I
look into that too and see what the attendance was in each spot.
Oh, I've looked at all of them. So basically, yeah, Vegas wins out, but in the years prior, everybody was hovering around the same 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. But all of a sudden in 1995, they got 17,000 at Reno.
Wow.
It was crazy.
That's incredible.
15 or 17,000, I think.
Doesn't
17
matter.
And then 15.
Either way, it's a lot.
Yeah. That was their highest year ever. They've never been able to achieve that again, but now they hover around 9 or 10 when it's not COVID.
Which is still respectable. That's still 50,000 people.
Yeah, but they're still always going to Vegas. And now I understand they came to Syracuse in 2019, and that was a really low number. But it's Syracuse. And, I mean, there's nothing for people to do in Syracuse.
New York really isn't a good place to host.
So that's why I asked, what would be a really nice place on the East Coast that you would want to travel to? So I got a couple of answers. There weren't a lot of people that thought of anything, but no.
I think Baton Rouge, which is in a few years, is going to be really nice.
Technically not on the East Coast, not east of the Mississippi, but still pretty decent. Yeah.
I think Florida would be probably number one.
Orlando was a good answer because you can bring your family, go to Disney and stuff, so not a bad answer. And, that's a pretty cheap flight, I think, to get there. And accommodations may not be cheap, but, shut your face. Miami would be interesting.
I mean, it's mainly Florida. I remember they had it in Montana a few times, and
way back in the day. Yeah. Phil said Richmond, Virginia. That'd be interesting.
I think Richmond would be nice. Virginia's not a bad place.
Charlotte or Raleigh, North Carolina.
Charlotte is awesome.
Fangmeyer 50 said none. Thanks for that answer.
Thanks, Fangmeyer.
And Ben from 10 Pin said anywhere but New York City or Boston.
Yeah, I mean that's agreeable.
Agree with that.
We don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Syracuse. I feel like was just a bad venue. There's not anything to do there.
Yeah. Now, here's what I explained this to your dad once. I said all of these cities would love to have 50,000 people come to their city for 50,000 plus. That's just the bowlers. That doesn't count the spouses and the families and everything else,
Just
right?
a time frame.
So you could call it, let's call it 75,000 people or 100,000 people that go to the tournament. The problem is if you don't have a tournament center like Reno or like
Vegas,
South Point, you have to build it like Syracuse did. And how can you convince a convention center to occupy their space 3 months, like 4 or 6 months?
They got to build it.
Build time, tournament time, and then tear down time.
Well, the other question is how much?
I know, but I'm just saying.
How much do they have to pay for it though? That's the other thing. What would the numbers be? So how much was? Yeah. Well, the machines they actually sell those. They sell everything.
Yeah, they sell all the equipment and.
But how much would it be? Does the USBC buy all the equipment, or do they like rent it, or do they get it? Do they get it donated?
Right,
so
as the sponsor fee
or
whatever.
You know
Either way, the I can't imagine that a city like Orlando that's big that doesn't have any issues. Well, no, what I'm saying is I can't imagine that a city like Orlando or Miami that doesn't have issues getting people there already is going to be like, yeah, we don't need you to hold up our convention center for 6 months. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But the other thing too is, if they're not having problems with people coming in, then they have to have a pretty substantial size convention center. Well,
yeah, but you've got to have 60 lanes at a minimum,
and you
right?
have to. All your leagues and everything has to be shut down by March.
Yep.
So it's not a bad thing for them, trust me, but at the same time your leagues are kind of outed there.
Right.
I feel like you would have to have a convention center that is so big, and if you don't have problem getting people there, then you need to have like a surplus of room of some sort. And I don't know, because I don't really know much about convention centers. That's why we should build one in Texas.
The amazing thing
that's where they're supposed to build it.
The amazing thing is that they did this for 100 years. Well, I shouldn't say 100 years, but for let's say 60 or 80 years by building the lanes by hand in convention centers out of wood.
Think about it.
I'm just saying, like, those guys, those men were men. They built those freaking lanes.
Austin knows how it is to cut them.
That's unbelievable that they were able to do that every year.
No, it's incredible. Yeah, it's not easy crap. But yeah, I think Florida would be the best, and I would like to see Texas and maybe Indianapolis, maybe somewhere more Midwest.
Indianapolis is not a bad town. That's a big convention town. They have a huge convention center there.
There you go. A lot of times, yeah.
So
they have plenty of bowling alleys.
Bad.
But it's just a thought. It wouldn't be bad. I remember I think they went to Toledo a few years ago. They used to go to Montana. Now, I'm not saying that everywhere would be the best to go.
Yeah.
But we gotta there has to be somewhere else to go.
If you look back on the list, there used to be a ton of cities that they went to.
Records. Yeah. They updated the booths over there at the convention center or the South Point, and we have my grandfather's records, and you can see everything. You can see where he went. Yeah. He went everywhere. California,
for
Montana,
40 years straight.
Idaho. Yeah, he went 40 years straight, right? The Mississippi or Alabama or places down there.
Yeah. We got a long way to go.
What do we have? 4 years?
3.
What? No, we've had
19, 21, 22.
Wow, I feel like I've been going for longer than that.
Yeah. So a couple more things before we head out. Breaking news.
We're breaking the news.
Brian O'Keefe punished by who the heck was it? Oh, not the USBC, but the NCAA maybe? I forget. Anyway, Brian O'Keefe, who is the head coach of Team USA, and also the director of bowling at McKendree University, had impermissible contact with a graduate transfer athlete that was not registered in the USBC Collegiate Transfer Portable. And he did not know that he did something wrong, apparently, so he's accepting his punishment, thank you, of not being able to contact any future bowlers for 151 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
So his wife does it. Okay.
Probably. She'll take care of it. She'll take care of all the recruiting from this point forward.
He just says, "Hey, go talk to this person."
I don't know exactly what this means. They didn't go into a lot of detail on the USBC website, but I assume it means he just didn't register that he went to go contact a student, and now he's in trouble for it.
Grad transfer that wasn't probably eligible. Trying to bring them maybe back out,
right?
Because they need to have certain eligibility left, and I'm assuming they have to register with the USBC to be able to stay in that tier of athletic for college,
right?
College athletics. So maybe they didn't do their paperwork right. So maybe it's a fault on them and or him or both, or who knows.
Interesting.
Not really that big of news, though. I don't feel like.
I'm just telling you.
All the other guys get paid now. And they can go where the heck they want.
Yeah, like are bowlers going to start getting paid since the football players get paid?
Bowlers have been getting paid for years. You just
that's
gotta
true.
you can go bowl and get money for it.
That is true.
So
yeah,
I mean, people still are sponsored. Like, look at the Bones; they're sponsored by Brunswick.
Yeah,
right. We didn't talk about them either in the summer that they had, but we talked about our summer.
Yeah, they crushed it. They built their pro shop and their
training facility,
their training center.
Yep,
it's true. We'll have to touch on that next week.
No, don't even say that, Carl. They didn't know. Carl's all angry. Gosh darn it.
Belschnickel? What?
That's an actual word, swear word.
Yeah, I've never heard it. But so, and then real quick, a couple of things. We'll be heading to our first regional, which we'll dive into it in depth next week because it's the day before
practice.
We head out. But next week
head out. We just drive home. It's so close.
Next week is our second regional that we will attend. PBA regional.
It's on Chameleon.
39 feet. So perfect for me. It's going to be middle length and from what we know about the place, again, heads are probably a little burnt up. But I've drilled some weaker stuff and some more pearl stuff, so I think I'm a little more prepared for next week. How about you? Are you prepared for next week?
No.
Good.
I bowled. I mean, I drilled 6 balls in August for the events coming up. I drilled 2 3D offsets, 2 quantum evos, both 1 pin up, 1 pin down, 2 melee carbons, 1 pin up, 1 pin down, a knockout black blue pin down, and I have drilled a Cuda because it looks cool and it's got a fish on it. I drilled. What else did I drill? I had to drill something else. Oh, I think I drilled like 2 more purple hammers. So yeah, I'm ready to go. I drilled it all in preparation to bowl, and then I think I bowled 2 times after nationals. Yes, Chicopee Mega Tournament. We have already discussed it.
Yes.
Yeah, we are.
We gotta register our spots, but yes, we are planning on attending the Mega Buck. Yep.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yes, Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon, we're planning on be there. It's only an hour and 20 away from here, so it's actually perfect. It's a quick trip, and hopefully we make it for Sunday's squads. But it's actually a really nice format. It looks like It should be exciting.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe we'll touch on that next week.
We're going to see you there, Carl?
Carl's going to be there.
Yeah, he's supposed to be there in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Right, son. Yeah.
All right. So, well, with that being said, do you want to touch on what people should be doing for the beginning of the season, or
listen, guys? If you're beginning of the season, let's go over this quick. If you've got a ball that's got 90 games or more on it, make sure to go to the shop, have them clean it up, resurface it, use a little bit of revive it with the baking ovens, something like that. Maybe get some new grips. You want to get some grips after every year. It's usually about every 50 or 60 games. You want to have some new grips in there, so maybe check that out. Check your grips. Make sure your fit's okay. Make sure your fit and your thumb hole's okay. Get some tape in there.
You should have all been doing this 2 weeks ago, by the way.
Yeah, but we're here now. So then maybe get some practice and make sure you go once or twice. Even while you're bowling, once or twice a week. Also helps the center out. Maybe visit the pro shop, see what they've got. Pro shops will be your best friend to get you back into shape. So just do the normal maintenance stuff, and you should be set to go. Any questions, let us know on our email, too, because we can answer those as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as every week, well, it's not every week because this is our first week of the season. But
much earlier than normal.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Normally
we usually start 2 weeks into September. Yeah. So luckily this year we are starting right after Labor Day, which I am excited about because that means we're going to end early this year. God willing. But yeah, it is time for us to go bowling. But thank you guys for tuning back in with us for 2020 2023 season. It's our third. I freaking hate. It's our third season of the podcast, and we're excited to be here with you guys again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get alerts from the channel. You can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you can't watch the show, you can always download and listen from any major podcast outlet. And while you're doing that, please give us a 5-star review. You can always check out our merch shop on Etsy, and that link is in the notes. Or if you'd like to sponsor the show, you can email us at downlanepod@gmail.com. You can also make suggestions for show topics there as well. Thank you to Austin VanBuren, the producer, star bowler at the OCs, Jack Scaccia, proprietor of Town and Country Lanes. Anthony, another great show. Thank you to my family, Stephanie, Zach, and Ethan.
Thanks, Jam Bread.
Beyonce.
Jam Bread.
And ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. This is Downlane Podcast. It kind of helped them advance. I mean, do you think this was a conspiracy?
Gotta go with Jacob Butter. Gotta go lefty.
No, we're talking about